The betting, the not so much anymore, is more down to my own fault. I need to get studying again to get the edge back. But yeah, it's a great product. I love the exchange. It's really, in my opinion, one of the better bookmakers, if not the best bookmaker out there.
First leg of the place accumulators, the captain of all maiden plate over 1,400 meters. First leg of the place accumulator due for 12.55. The early favourite is number 10, Professor Lupin, but more about that in a moment. We're going to chat to trainer Michael Roberts, who has a three-pronged attack in race 2.
Castle May, a bit of a problem, with the trip as well. Been disappointing. I thought, you would be showing improvement. Haven't shown that. Last time on a poly, didn't act at all. And so we're more hopeful than anything else. We're putting him over further, and I think you'll enjoy the step up in trip. Unfortunately not drawn well, but we're hoping to learn a bit more about him. Railroad, same applies to him. Up in trip. Going to give him a chance and see if he won't finish his races, because he doesn't seem to run his races out over the shorter trip. So unfortunately, once again, drawn in badly, so we're more hopeful than anything else.
So, Dees, let's start with the last named of the three horses from the Michael Roberts stable, number 13, Railroad. Indications are they're going to drop him out from a wide draw of 13, but the booking of Richard Fourie is significant. There's also been an equipment change. The blinkers come off. No blinkers for number 13, Railroad. He hasn't raced without blinkers since way back on the 1st of February 2023. Now, apart from Professor Lupin, who is the clear favourite in the anti-post market at 17-10, there's not much depth to this race, and it could theoretically produce an upset result. What's your take on Railroad?
Yeah, the one thing that we know that he sprints well, Graham, and I think this poor draw that he has could actually be an advantage, because now that Michael is suggesting that we're going to give him a chance, which means that Richard Fourie is not going to, let him stride from that wide draw to go and race up handy. He's possibly going to try and get a position. So I think the wide draw is actually a positive for this horse over 1,400 meters. And not on the fact that I'm going to try and question whether he's going to be as effective over 1,400 meters, but as you mentioned, the lack of opposition could see him get away with it, Graham. Because, if he just settles into stride, I don't see him emptying out that badly, because he's running against horses that have very little form to recommend. So even if he's not, 80% or 70% as good as he is over sprint trips over 1,400 meters, I think this is the type of field that could see him get away with it. And we know on the confidence that Richard Fourie is riding, and he'll have a plan of action, because you don't just take rides. He would discuss this with Michael, and his opinion against Michael's on how they're going to race him, and we'll see what happens on the day. But I think Professor Lupin, the fixed odds betting market had very little choice pricing this horse up at around 17-10, Graham, because whilst he's been a horse that's been frustrating to follow if you've gone for him in the past, because he has been at restrictive odds, he hasn't run badly, and against this type of field, I think it looks like the right race, because there's no distance issues with him. So he could be a banker in a bet like a place accumulator, or maybe even a buy pot. But if you're looking past number 10, Professor Lupin, then it becomes an absolute minefield. I've written down some numbers for you, Graham. 10 a roving banker by numbers 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, and 13. That's what I like to play. 10 a roving banker with little confidence, but I think we'll finish in the top 4. By 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, and 13.
Yeah, the factors against Professor Lupin. Second run after a long rest. He was off the track from the 9th of July till the 10th of March, when he made his reappearance recently as a gelding. That was his first run as a gelding. Then you look at the form lines. He's had 5 previous runs, and there's been only one direct winner in all 5 of those runs. Yeah. But like you say, there's a lack of opposition, and he does appear to set the standard. So yes, perhaps he is a roving banker, but he's the kind of horse for me I might get away with it, I might not. That's certainly as far as the bipod and the place accumulator is concerned. This early in those betting types, being only the second leg of the bipod and first leg of the place accumulator, I'm going to look to perhaps turn him over. He might just fall prey to the second run after rest syndrome, but it's very tough to find those that might beat him. Field Marshal, we've seen the 2-year-olds run well against moderate maidens in open company. Pleasing debut, benefit of pole position. I see you've included him in that list that you read out to float Professor Lupin with in the quartet. Number 2, Flying Cool, obvious claims. The horse that you have also included that interests me quite a lot is number 9, Magic Prince. Now, if you're going to look at his last 2 runs, you're going to say you've got to be crazy, but certainly he's got a chance in his best form. And could this be the kind of race where number 9 Magic Prince bounces back?
I think he could. I really think he could, because he's only having his second run for Komar and Naidu. They would have learnt a lot from his last start. And then the Sekambaya, Brett Crawford's runner. I know that Raven Black is scratched later on, but this horse is a gelding. Gelded on the 4th of March 2024. I'm sure initially he was thought of as a traveling companion for Raven Black. If he does come down, he's the joker of the pack. And then a horse at a big price here, Graham, called Crystal Blue, is one that I would include. I know lengths-wise he seemed to be going backwards, but position-wise he was making progress to the field. So maybe he's a nice big roughie to maybe fill in the minor positions. But I can't give you any confidence with number 10, Professor Lupin. You spoke about the form lines, etc. But I think as a roving banker in trifectas and quartets, you could get away with it.
Well, we've given the second race, the first leg of the place accumulates a lot of airtime. Professor Lupin could well come home absolutely lonely. He meets a very shallow field here. He might fall prey to the second run after rest syndrome. His form lines are not strong. Dees has given you a list of horses that you need to consider. Sakambaya, if he was to reproduce the efforts behind Hatspride and All About Ronnie, who's now a multiple winner, he'll come home smoking a pipe in this kind of a race. Magic Prince might find his form. But that's enough for race 2. You've got to make up your own mind whether you're in the camp of number 10, Professor Lupin, or you're looking to turn him over.
It's Donovan Everett from Cape Racing, and I'd just like to say it's an absolute pleasure to be involved with Intrabet and Cape Breeders in this golf day today here at Pearl Valley. It's fantastic for the industry to see all the relevant stakeholders coming down and having a good time and networking, and it's exactly what the industry needs right now in terms of moving forward and recreating some positivity to take us forward into the next year.